What's up, guys? My name is JDCook5 and welcome to the preview where Leicester take on Chelsea at the King Power Stadium in a 12:30 kickoff. Before we do get into this preview, if you haven't already, please hit that like button and please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. 80% of you are currently unsubscribed to the channel that are watching, so if you do have some time, it's completely free to do so and hit that subscribe button. Chelsea take on Leicester in a clash where we see ourselves going back to normal football. No one really likes international football, do they, in fairness? Enzo Maresca reunites with his club after obviously getting them to promotion, getting him into the Premier League, and then leaving for Chelsea as he takes on his successor, Steve Cooper. So it's going to be an interesting tie, I think. I don't think it's going to be easy as what people say. Just to run through injuries and things like that before we get into the depths of what I believe and so on. Leicester are very much struggling on that particular front. Fatawa is one of the 5 attacking concerns for Saturday's host, which is quite surprising to see. Jamie Vardy's a doubt. We've got Bobby Reid that's got his Achilles, Jordan Ayew and knee, and he's been very good for Leicester this season so far. Patson Daka is on track to be available, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be for that particular game. Ricardo Pereira Fai, Jakub Storalaxic, I'm not too sure if I'm saying that, an ankle injury. And the big one that's been mentioned as well is Federico Bonotti. I'm not too sure if I'm right in saying once again, but he's got to serve a 1-game suspension after picking up his 5th yellow card against Man United at Old Trafford. In terms of Chelsea, it doesn't look too bad on our injury front. Romeo Lavia should be okay after his hamstring scare. Cole Palmer, Jadon Sancho and Levi Colwill have all been pitched in training this week. Bearing in mind Palmer and Colwill didn't go on international duty, so should be well rested, and Jadon Sancho back in the squad. Wesley Fofana and Malo Gusto also withdrew from the French side, but they should be absolutely fine with Moises and Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, coming back from South America, so it'll be interesting to see if they feature. The only injury that's been mentioned in the recent days is Reece James has a potential hamstring injury, which is awaiting a scan. Moving forward to the actual game itself, it's an interesting one. Leicester haven't beaten us since that wonder strike from Yuri Tielemans where he put it in the top corner against Kepa Arrizabalaga in that FA Cup fixture during COVID. So they've lost 5 and drawing 1 of their last 6 after that, I'm pretty sure, which is interesting to see, in fairness. I'll go into the stats a bit more. But in terms of the game for ourselves, we're sitting 3rd in the table at the moment. Leicester currently sitting in 15th. The table is very tight, I have to say. I'm pretty sure only 1 point separates 3rd to 3 points, separate 3rd to 10th, which is tight as anything, in fairness. There's no room for error whatsoever. It's a winnable game from our sort of perspective. We are under form. I don't feel like we've been playing badly whatsoever. There's no reason to why we shouldn't win this particular fixture and get the victory. But at the same time, I've always been a bit sceptical of the international duty games coming back, and as well as the early kickoff, they just never seem to be up for it. We've got a good record at the King Power Stadium. There's no denying that. Chelsea have had some good runnings there, it has to be said. But at the same time, it's football at the end of the day. Anything can change. The fans could get on the back of Enzo Maresca. The fans could really be behind Leicester, and they could actually really perform because they are a good side at the end of the day. They've got a performance in them. With Leicester sitting 15th in the table as of the moment, they are 3 points off of the drop, so they're going to want to win. They need points at the end of the day, and we're sort of coming to that crunch bit of the season where we're going into December, where points really matter going into the new year. So this isn't going to be a game that they want to lose by any stretch of the imagination. So I feel like it is going to be an interesting tie between the two, but I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be winning this particular tie. As I mentioned, we're in good form. I feel like we've been playing some good football as of late, and it's just one of those where I think if the right team is selected and so on, and if the right things and the right attitude and everything else, which I believe that Enzo Maresca is implementing over time as Chelsea boss, I think he realises the success that needs to be brought back to the club and the need to do it in that sense. But it's always easier said than done in that particular way. It's not easy for him to come in and get a result, but at the same time, I feel like he's doing an amazing job, and I feel like we've kind of reached that sort of expectation where he's probably got a level above, in fairness, because I never expected to be in this particular position at this point of the season. Looking at the last 6, Leicester haven't had a good run whatsoever. Their last game before the international duty was losing out to Man United in a 3-0 loss. Ipswich a 1-1 draw. In the Cup, they faced Man United once again, where they had a 5-2 loss. 3-1 loss against Nottingham Forest, and they had 2 wins prior to that, with a win against Southampton where Jordan Ayew scored in the 90th minute, and a 1-0 win over Bournemouth. Their form is very clear to see that it's very up and down. So I feel like we should be taking the most of that to be able to get a result. But at the same time, it's very hard to say if that will ever be the case. And it's hard to go off a team's form, and you look at it and think, well, on paper, they shouldn't realistically be doing well tomorrow. But at the same time, they easily could. But it's very interesting to see their dip in form as of late. But at the same time, I would probably be sitting from a Leicester perspective, having changed manager and having not spent the most money compared to other sides. They're probably in a good position, and they're still 3 points off of the drop. This is our last 5 against Leicester. We have won 4 and drew 1. Our last loss against Leicester, as I mentioned, was in that FA Cup game. And our last game that we actually played was an FA Cup fixture where we won 4-2 in that dramatic game where Disasi scored an own goal. Sterling missed a penalty. He also just missed an absolute stupid free kick at the same time. There was also a red card in that particular game. It had all sorts, in fairness. But Chelsea were able to come out on that particular occasion 4-2 winners. And that was the time where Enzo Maresca was in charge, so it's going to be a different flip side for him in this particular fixture, but at the same time there's no reason for why he can't get the job done. Our record overall against Leicester is pretty impressive, I have to say. We've won 62, we've drawn 35, and we've only lost 28, so overall with the amount of games that have been played against, we are having a massive win percentage on that particular one, but we cannot be complacent whatsoever. Here now is my lineup predictions. Robert Sanchez in goal. We're going for the 4-2-3-1 formation. He's got so much backing from the hierarchy. It's unbelievable, but it's clear to see he's not fit for the job. And there has been talks recently about Petrovic coming back from Strasbourg in the season, next season, for him to fill the void, which I feel like is needed to a particular degree because, again, Sanchez isn't good enough. But at the same time, that's who he is willing to kind of go with in between the sticks. Cucurella on the left-hand side. Fofana on the centre-backs role. Partnering with Colwell, that's an easy partnership that we've seen, and Malagusto on the right hand side. With Reece James out, we've obviously got a bit of a predicament in terms of the back four that we play. I feel like Cucurella has been hard done by with obviously not being played every single game, and he's been absolutely phenomenal as of late, and he's really had a big transition in terms of the player that he currently is. So we've still got backup. At the same time, I'm a bit kind of worried, obviously, with the injuries. I guess that might bring Ben Chilwell into the fold in terms of substitutes. I'm not really too sure on that particular occasion, like just whole really predicament that we're in with that. I don't know if he goes in January, I'm not too sure, but the back four is a pretty solid back four in my opinion. It's probably the strongest that we can go with at this moment in time. Lavia and Caicedo in the middle. Lavia obviously coming off of that hamstring scare, which seems to be absolutely fine. Caicedo obviously playing far away, he's going to be knackered, but at the same time, if he's willing to play, he's been pitched in training, so I don't see why he shouldn't be on the field. Going forward in terms of the attackers, we've got Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer and Noni Madueke. Madueke was really impressive for England, I thought, so it's nice to see that he's coming off a good form into the domestic football. Cole Palmer, hopefully he can kind of get a monster goals in this particular fixture, as he's been lacking as of late, but I thought he's been carrying the team for so long, so we cannot slate him by any means. Pedro Neto on the left-hand side, he got a goal for Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo was the sister, and he's just been absolutely unbelievable for us so far. That goal against Arsenal, everything that he's been able to produce as of late, he's been absolutely sublime, and we will have support with Christopher Nkunku, João Felix, Mykhailo Mudryk and Jadon Sancho all on the bench. And then up top, we've gone for Nico Jackson. Obviously, it's been a bit of a predicament between the two with Christopher Nkunku, and I would like to see him feature, but I do believe he'll go with Nico Jackson. So it's just one of those. I'd personally like to see Nkunku, but at the same time, I reckon it will be Nico Jackson up top. But that is my first 11. At least with the injury sort of front, it's only Reece James. We've still got a lot available at the same time. So if things do start to go wrong, we have got substitutions that are being able to make. Finally, for this video, here is my score prediction. A 1-0 victory for Chelsea in the end, I think, anyway, against Leicester. I don't feel like it's going to be a game that everyone else is kind of talking about in terms of goals, goals, goals. I don't see that from this particular fixture. Leicester are going to be on the back foot due to the injuries that they've currently got as a squad. But at the same time, they're going to go for it because they've kind of got nothing to lose in some ways. And they are the home side. So you would expect them to be able to kind of try and put in a performance. I've always mentioned that I'm not a fan of the early kickoff. You can never really support the early kickoff. And it never seems to be that we ever see a big performance at the early kickoff. And at the same time, coming from international break, it's always hard to get back into that rhythm in the first game. I feel like it's always a bit of a bummer in some ways because you have it where you've got some sort of process going and consistency and so on, and that kind of gets drawn away with the international break, not playing for 2 weeks. So, yeah, one of those in that way, but I still expect us to come out victorious, but I only can see the one goal. I'd like to see more, and I'd like to compete to the highest, but that's how I see the game going. But hopefully coming tomorrow and coming from the review, hopefully I am proved wrong, and we've scored plenty of goals, and we've been able to pick up a mega 3 points. But yeah, I'm excited to see us back in action. Obviously on the 12:30 kickoff, it's never ideal, but at the same time, as I mentioned, excited to see us back in action. Hopefully we're able to get a result against Leicester and push on in our hopes for top 4 spots this particular season. But let me know what you think in the comments below. It'd be nice to see some Chelsea fans in the comments to see if we can kind of get a few different kind of thoughts and opinions, maybe different to what I'm saying. So it's always interesting. I'm always here to listen to comments and so on. So never feel like you can't. But that is it. We'll be seeing a review after the game. It should be pretty much straight after, as I'll be watching it on telly, and as soon as that is done, I'll be doing my review. But that is it for this preview. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.